I'm gonna put my arm around you like so. I'm gonna say, for recording purposes, could I get your name, please?
Sycamore.
And the new single is?
Houseboat.
Let's do this. Coming down in three, two, and one. First, thank you so much for doing this interview with me, especially how busy it is. I mean, we're at the Strut Social House. We are here in London. This is Canadian Country Music Award Week, and you are part of all this.
Yeah.
Congratulations. How does it feel being here?
Oh, I love being here. As an artist, you don't get to hang out with other artists as much as I think you'd like to, and so Country Music Week is all about just hanging out with, I mean, not all about, but you get a chance to hang out with other artists and just catch up with everybody and have a good time, which is my favorite part.
I mean, is there sort of sneaking in little collaborations where you go, hey, you know what? I had this song here, and I was thinking, since we just ran into each other, I was thinking, man, you'd be perfect for this.
That's how a lot of it works. It's very organic. It's very much like, this would be a good duet, and then you run into your friend on the street, and you're like, maybe you could sing this, and it's like all of a sudden those ideas are just born out of that really spontaneous energy. I think that's the best way to do it, to be honest. When it's not too contemplated, it's just kind of like really spontaneous. But yeah, there's lots of, I think, co-writes that happen in hotel rooms and collabs and all that stuff. So it's great.
Yeah, but the other great thing, of course, you are here. You're promoting new music. You're promoting yourself, and you're, for me, getting a chance to talk about how this all began for you. So how did it begin?
Well, music started, I think, pretty early for me, like a lot of people's stories start. I sang in church, I sang in school, and I just really always had a love of music, and I had always considered it as a career, and I went through a phase where I was a little bit disheartened about it. I kind of didn't want to do it. I didn't know if I'd be good enough, and then I ended up going to college, and weirdly enough, going to college caused me to go into music, because I met some of these awesome people.
Well, I'm just like, what part were you growing up in? What part of Canada?
Oh, I grew up in Carsland, Alberta, so that's just east of Calgary.
Okay, so what college did you go to?
I went to Ambrose University, shout out.
Shout out. So how did that change your life then?
I ended up hanging out with some really musical people, and they really encouraged me. At the time, I was really insecure, and I just didn't know if that's what I was comfortable doing or whatever, and I just kind of ended up singing around these people and maybe showing them little things that I wrote, and they were very encouraging and were like, you should pursue this, and I listened to them, and after that I was kind of off to the races. I just started writing all the time. I started getting into bands, and then eventually I started this solo project called Sycamore, and here we are, 4-ish years later, and we're just in the thick of it, and I love it.
What does that mean, though, Sycamore?
Sycamore for me, it's a stage name, and I wanted a stage name instead of my regular name, and so I thought, well, if you're going to have one, you should probably have a name that reflects the music you make. And so it was always like, what kind of music you're making? And it was always very, strong, rootsy, tenacious, and all that stuff. And I thought, this is kind of going in the tree-like direction, and so are there any good tree names? And Sycamore just jumped out at me, and I don't regret it at all. It's opened a lot of doors. A lot of great opportunities have come from it, and I think it's easier to remember for people.
Well, visually, though, when I see you, I could have thought anything. I could have thought rock. I could have thought pop. I could have thought R&B. I could have thought so many different things. But we are talking Country Music Week here.
We are.
Why country? Why did that actually settle in for you?
Well, my parents met on the pro rodeo circuit, and with that said, there's so much country music in that culture, in that rural upbringing, and so country was the first music I remember hearing growing up. Country radio was always playing, and so I love all kinds of music, but country is just in my veins. It's in my blood. I was raised on it, and so in a way I think I can't escape it at the end of the day. But you're right to think that I'm really into pop and really into rock and hip hop and R&B, so there's a little bit influenced in there, but it's definitely country.
Talk about the new single, please.
It's called Houseboat, and it's a summer jam about healing a broken heart by going on vacation and drinking Fireball with your friends. And I think we released it at a great time. We released it at the very beginning of July, and so I think it's a great song for the summer, and it's preceding a record that I have coming out around October, November, so keep an eye out for it.
Okay, album, EP, what's with that?
It's an EP. It'll be 5 songs. These are all solo writes, which is really interesting. I wrote all these songs myself.
Canadian talent here.
Yeah, so it'll definitely reflect, my style for sure, and in the best way possible. So I think you guys should all keep an eye out for it. It'll be out on iTunes, and we'll hopefully be selling it in hard copy as well.
Website, Twitter, where else can we go to follow you to see what you're doing for the winter and in 2017?
Yeah, I'm super on Instagram and Facebook for the most part. So my Instagram is just Sycamore. Just spell it SYKAMORE. It's traditionally with a C, but spell it with a K. I'm all over Instagram and Facebook, and my website is sykamoreproject.com.
Thank you so much for the interview. And thank you guys for watching. Now I got to turn this off. So see y'all later.